Top 5 tips for 6v6 ESHL and NHL 24. Comment down below how many of these 5 tips you and your team does in sixes. The first tip is understanding the responsibilities of the position you play. There are 3 different positions in sixes: center, winger, and defenseman. Winger are mainly offensive minded. Usually stay high on their side. They're the go-to for scoring goals and the support factor on defense. Defensemen are very conservative on offense. They stay back, marking the furthest opponent up, and keep the play in front of them. They are the cornerstones on defense. Breakaways are on them, and they need to be locked down for their team. The center is the most important position on the ice, understanding both offense and defense and the rotation between. Your best player is your center and severely controls the outcome of the game. Wingers typically go with a good offensive build, such as the sniper or puck movement defenseman. Can also go with an offensive defenseman as well. Fast, quick build that can score. Defensemen go with any lockdown build of their choice. Puck movement D-man are most common, but can also use the two-way defenseman or two-way forward if they want. Centers go with a build that has a good mix of offense and defense. Playmakers are most common, but can also go with a two-way forward, grinder, power forward if they choose. Bigger builds don't have much of a place in sixes due to them being slower and the increased chance of getting penalized when going for big hits. I have a builds video that you can reference in the top right or in the description down below. Be sure to watch the remainder of this video before switching. The second tip is understanding the neutral zone play. There are 2 different styles: forechecking or trapping at the blue line. Forechecking relies on the wingers or any closest forward to the puck, pressuring the opposing team, making the breakout for them much more difficult. The forward that stays back covers the middle lane in the neutral zone. When done right, this can create turnovers that can lead to scoring chances for your team. When done wrong, it can lead to a much easier attempt for your opponents to break into the zone. Forecheckers need to ensure that they don't get beat by the player. Keep the man in front of them and just shadow his movements. This forces the puck carrier to get rid of the puck quicker, which allows your team to cover their man for less time and jump the passing lane if there. Turns into man-to-man coverage when forechecking. Wingers ideally forechecking the defense, breaking it out. Center covers center lane or covers the center men. Defensemen cover wingers on their side, maintain inside leverage, and narrow the gap between. The other style is trapping at the blue line. This style is highly popular among high-level teams because it's a more simple formation that limits risk. Like I mentioned with forechecking, 2 players pushing forward, leaving only 3 players to hold the blue line. With the trap, wingers stay back and all 5 players hold the blue line, waiting for the opposing team to make a move towards them. Wingers hold outside leverage on the boards and force the play in towards the defense. The center holds the center lane, while the defensemen stagger between the center and wing on their side and take what cuts in towards them. Every player attacks at the blue line, making it very difficult for the opposing team to enter the zone. The decision whether to forecheck or trap is determined by the team. You can use both strategies in the game. If close to the puck in the offensive zone and want to just place pressure on the opposing team, then the forecheck works. If close to filling the full pressure system, the choice of forechecking is a good choice. Just make sure 3 players are back and are in good position marking their man. If the play gets reset by the opposing team and no player is near to pressure the puck, then trapping is the best option. If down in a game, forechecking is highly needed to create chances to score, as you need the puck. If up in a game and want to limit risk, then trapping is better. Understand both and own the neutral zone. If you guys are finding these tips to be helpful so far, please like the video and subscribe here. If you're new, hit that bell. It really helps support the channel. Defensive zone play is man-to-man through the lens of a zone coverage. To keep it simple, the wingers cover the top half of their side, from the point to as far as the dot in the circles. They are the support factor through back-checking, covering the defensemen at any point, making sure to get in the way when a point shot is taken, and applying pressure when needed. Follow the defensemen when they cut in towards the slot. The play is on the opposite side, and the defenseman they're covering is out of the play. They can then creep down and support on high slot 1-Ts from opposing wingers, doing what they can from the top down. Defensemen for your team cover anything from the circles and slot down to behind net on their side, mainly covering the opposing wingers on their side, keeping inside leverage on their man and narrowing the gap between them, anchoring the slot to limit the space they have. While the winger is your man to cover in the zone, always keep looking to the slot to ensure the center is covering center lane or the slot. If no man is on your side, look to the slot and help out there. Keep in mind if any player is looking to deflect the puck, and be sure to either nudge them by flicking up on your right stick. Won't be a penalty in this game if the player is close to the net, or you can stick lift them by holding A or X depending on which console you play on. If the center is not in place, then defensemen need to anchor the slot and keep that area covered. This gives more space to the opposing players to the perimeter, but that's a necessary sacrifice as the middle or slot always needs to be covered first before venturing outward. This correlates to odd man rushes like a 3-on-2 or 2-on-1, and anchoring the middle is key to successfully defending the play as best as possible. If the slot is not covered, then defensemen have to cover the slot and play in between two players. The center holds the most important spot, which is the slot. Like I said, the center has to be the best player in the game and own the middle of the ice in all areas of the game. Center takes anything cutting to the middle, keeping inside leverage and their body in front of the player. If the player looks for deflections, then the same thing applies as mentioned before. Look to nudge them or stick lift them to keep them from doing so. As far as team defense is concerned, every player should maintain coverage in their zone and lock onto a man or support if needed. But rotations and quick transitions can and will happen naturally, so being able to understand the responsibilities of every player on your team allows the rotations to be seamless and simple. If the center is forechecking or out of the play for any reason, then one of the wingers needs to get back and rotate covering center. A defenseman can decide to pinch up on the play, resulting in a rotation needed by either the center or wing to take their spot briefly. Again, these rotations can happen at any time, and the quicker it's seen and adjusted to, the easier it is to maintain a solid structure on defense with no gaps or zones left uncovered. The pressure system is something new this year when faced with shots on net or body checks in the offensive zone. When it's full against your team will feel a drastic effect. Stamina depletes quickly, as well as attributes being lowered to reflect pressure against your team. Play conservative and anchor the slot more, and find opportunities to strike when available to get the puck out and clear the zone. The PK should be played this way as well. I recommend a 1-1-2 type system. One high forward, pressuring and shadowing the point, usually stays high slot and follows the two defensemen at the point. The other forward is in the middle, acting like a center, covering center lane and slot. And the two defensemen supporting the slot and down low on their side to cover 1Ts that can open up. Depending on if they have gold 1T as wingers, that would be requiring more of a man-to-man coverage with defensemen on that wing. The formation should be decided on before the draw, depending on who goes to the box. Facing with a 5-on-3, play a triangle formation with one high in the middle and two low, playing tight in hopes of jumping routes to clear it quickly. When your team gets the puck in the defensive zone, there are a couple different breakouts to keep in mind. A quick breakout, which results in quickly setting it up to a forward when getting it, or a slow breakout resulting in slowing the play down and skating out of the zone as a team through the neutral zone. Depending on how the opposing team forechecks will tell you which breakout strategy is needed. When the team forechecks, whether they send one or two guys, wingers need to stay boards for support on board plays, and the center needs to stay middle and cut towards the strong side, whichever way that is. One quick pass up to a forward to skate through the neutral zone. Once it reaches the neutral zone, the play can either be a give and go with the winger and center, or one cut from the forward to find a lane into the zone. These plays are more situational and require quick passing and reading the defense to find lanes into the zone. The slow breakout should take place if there is no forecheck from the opposing team. This means they have all 5 guys back and holding blue line. There is no reason to rush this play. Defensemen should carry the puck, and all 5 guys skate as one through the neutral zone. The trick is to find a cut by one of the forwards to create space or a gap by defenders to find a lane in. The recommendation here is to have the wingers stay boards and cut in when getting past the red line or center ice line if the outside is covered. Another play is for the wingers to stay boards and manually sauce the puck off the boards to the winger for an outside entry. Or another play is for the wingers to cut in and then out to hopefully create space to the outside. These plays should be call-outs by defensemen to control the breakouts so everybody is on the same page. The center has 3 options, either picking a lane left, middle, or right, depending on what's open. can make one cut towards whichever lane they choose, or it could be a call out to skate left and right, or vice versa to create space into the zone. A neutral zone takeaway can result in many quick transitions to catch the opposing team off guard and potentially create an on-man rush. But if the lane isn't there, the puck should never just be sent into the zone. Dump and chase attempts in this game don't have much of an effect, as the dump attempt has been nerfed drastically to accommodate the full pressure system added this year. If the lane isn't there, reset the play and work a slow breakout. But you could sauce the puck into the zone if you have a winger or forward that's chasing it. This again requires a set play, usually from a call out from a defenseman or center or whoever is controlling that puck at that time. A player can also dump the puck off the boards themselves to then chase after it deep into the corner. Offensive zone play varies with each zone entry attempt. Depending on which player has the puck, should always be looking for a player or area to pass to extend the play if driving towards the net isn't an option. Working the play down low and behind net is a skill that your team needs to be fluent with. Maintain a triangle in the offensive zone with one player down low or behind net, one player around the slot or middle, and one player on boards depending on which side the puck is on. Rotations will happen with the forwards, and being able to rotate while moving the puck quickly should eventually be a seamless thing with more chemistry on the line. If the forwards are covered and no lane is open, pass back to the point can be an option if it's there. Don't force plays, but take what the defense gives you. One tease is a good habit to get into, and find it if it's there, as well as shots from the point for deflections or rebounds if there as well. Working the play down low or at the point can open opportunities for cut plays by forwards for inside slot shots. Again, take what's there and work on cycling to find good opportunities to shoot. One tease, point shots, and cut plays are all good plays to look for in the offensive zone. On power plays, finding one tease and point shots are key, as more space is available to you. PK usually involves anchoring the slot, so the perimeter is more available to circle around a bit. Be patient and find a clean entry to score. The pressure system is a new mechanic this year in the offensive and defensive zone. Only counts towards shots on net, takeaways in the offensive zone, as well as hits in the O zone too. Maintaining possession provides very little to this gauge now, so finding quick plays for shots leads to filling the gauge quicker, which leads to having the advantage with full pressure, leading to more goals. Work the system and fill the gauge when possible. My main position is defenseman. If you want to see how I play defense, click this video here to get started.